Hey guys, welcome back. So today on Modern Masters Auto, we have a 507 edition C63 with a Kleemann supercharger. We're gonna dive right in. This supercharger sounds like a bag of marbles, and we're gonna find out what is wrong with it. Then we're going to pull the valve covers off, inspect the cams, and see what is going on with this 507. As many of you know, the 507 cylinder heads have a little tougher spring, so it wears the cams down a little faster. So we're gonna check all of that, and we're gonna get to the bottom of what's going on with this supercharger. So it's an older style Eaton/TVS rotor pack that is very common to have issues. It's not like the newer generation Whipples or anything like that. So we're gonna dive right in, get this thing apart, diagnose it, and then that's where we'll leave the video. But we plan to do VRP cams, VRP stage 10 cam plates, fixing this supercharger, some maintenance things like motor mounts and other stuff. So this might be a series, but today I'm gonna try to get this supercharger off and diagnose the noise. So without further ado, let's get started. All right guys, so we're gonna dive right into it. I'm gonna start pulling it apart and we're gonna get this supercharger off, hopefully rather quickly so we can get it diagnosed. All right, we'll get this cover off. And this is all new to me, guys. I'm pretty excited to check this car out because I have never seen or worked on a Kleemann supercharged M156. And as we all know, I am the 156 guru. So very interesting. I like how the power steering reservoir sits over here. That's a pretty cool part. It bolts into the front timing cover. That's really interesting. Let me show you guys that. And it even says power steering wheel. Looks like it rubs the intake because it got some rub marks over the years. But oh, look at this. This has been glued up a couple times very close to the pulley there. It's been rubbing, but this bolts in. And Kleemann already agreed to take this supercharger in and get her figured out and replace whatever. Looks like this is notched off a little vacuum line here. Lots of glue on some of this stuff. Probably wearing over the years. This valve actuator is still plugged in. Wires all shoved in here. These are the throttle body wires, map sensor still hooked up, original map. So very interesting. Looks like this is where Wistek got a lot of their designs from. Let's see some similarities already. This kit came out over 10 years ago. So, and there was a very limited number. They did not make a lot of them. Oh, dude, no way. This is bolted in. It bolts the air boxes in the side. That makes it kind of a pain in the arse. It still uses factory intake fully. That's kind of crazy to me. So the throttle bodies may be inside this thing. It should be very interesting to me. This whole thing is very interesting to me. Well, IAT sensor has been moved to the front here. See, one of the clips is broken. Also very interesting. I think there's gonna be a lot of very interesting things going on in this. Mostly just because I've never seen it. It's missing a bolt here, so note that we're missing one of the intake bolts. And there's a different bolt used on the side here. And this one looks already stripped out. It looks a lot like a lot of them are already stripped out. You can see somebody, that one looks okay. That one looks not so good. Those don't look very good. That one is the wrong bolt, different bolt. That one's missing. And that one looks about to be stripped out. So, yep, let's get all this apart and then we'll see more. All right, guys, so got a H5 here, which is not correct. Takes this one out. And then what do you got for the rest of them? So H5 takes the bolt out that wasn't right. And then H1, damn, these are really worn out. That one wasn't even tight. Probably loosened up over time too. These little bolts and the vibrations from the motor having bad motor mounts. So wouldn't blame the installer or anything, or whoever did like air filters last. Probably was the last time this was open. Boom. So there you go. There's your plates that hold the air boxes in so they don't move. Yep. Has some aftermarket air filters in there. There is the air filters. Oh, and Anthony, just so you know, no longer beep out my cuss words. I'm going to try not to cuss like I do on Alex's videos. Yeah, family-friendly channel, guys. I'm quitting cursing. I'm quitting drinking energy drinks. So, trying to be healthy and just better this year. And there she is. There's the supercharger. Looks like it has massive runners in there. So let's keep taking it apart. You can see the supercharger. Here's the part number. So it's an integrated snout. So, yep, somebody did the thermostat recently. That pulley doesn't look the best down there. Lots of belt material on it. Let's get her taken apart. Georgie's gonna grab me a 12.17 to get on the tensioner. I'm gonna go and take the belt off the blower. I need a flashlight too, Georgie. I can't see nothing. Looks like it has a new tensioner too. Oh, you know what I just noticed that I didn't notice before? This has a dual ribs. I didn't even look at it because I just assumed it was like mine. But take a look at this, guys. There's a serpentine belt, and this is a secondary belt drive. So this has a crank pulley like the E55s, where it is dual belts, and the tensioner is right down there. So there's the tensioner. You can see the bracket down in there, kinda. Very interesting. So I'll get just the supercharger belt off, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me see a 3/8 drive ratchet. Don't have much room to pull this thing, but there she is. Now she's off. Cool. Probably get a new belt on there while we're doing all this. It's starting to get really greasy. Looks like somebody put some belt tack on it. That's what's all over the pulleys. Oh, look at this. This is extremely cool, guys. Look at this. You guys know I like fuel system stuff. This is a fuel block that the fuel pressure sensor goes into and 2 lines for the blower. That is awesome. That is incredible. We might have to use something like this going forward with other cars. That is very cool. Oh, I've never thought of that. That is genius. I'm telling you, these Kleemann guys in Denmark, they got some engineers, man. You know, like, that is impressive. All right, let me try to get this intake off, the Y pipe off in the back so I can see more. I'm gonna go and take the dipstick tube out so it doesn't get broken. I'm gonna get a rubber plastic plug, a little rubber right here. Yeah, this will be fine. Just so nothing can go to fall down in it. Just put a little piece of this rubber U-shape hose. Definitely wanna use some fender covers on this bad boy. Oh, 507. All right, so we're gonna pull this harness out of the way, pull it back to give us some more room to pop this intake off. It's been rubbing and chafing. So I got the one side popped off, and the back of this is wearing. So there's not much room down here. They got a lot of stuff piled in. I mean, all these blower cars, when these engines are like this though, there's not much room. Ta-da! You can see where it was wearing, and I went ahead and unplugged that. It was very loose though. The plastic they have going to it should have been a little bit tighter fit, but yep. Oh, lots of glue back here. What is all this glue stuff? Uh-oh. What the hell? That is, oh, it looked worse with no light, but tons of oil in this thing. So that's either coming from the blower because it looks funky, or that's from your PCV system, but either way, that is not good. This is not good at all. There's a plug back there, but look at all this glue stuff on the piping. Maybe that's just to keep it, like plumbing glue, to keep it sealed up forever, so there will be no leaks, but it kind of defeats the purpose of using a quick connect T there. Very odd. Hopefully we can get that disconnected. But let's keep going. I'm gonna do the fuel lines right here. Undo them from that so I can pull the blower and everything off as one unit. So we'll use our H6 here. Dang, dude. They are tight. I'm gonna break them all loose by hand, but I'll grab my H6 ball socket, long one, so I can go to the better angle. All right, guys, so you wanna use the H6 ball socket. Not that there's a ton of you guys out there with these blowers, but the ball socket lets you go from a different angle. And I have to pull that sensor out. Yep, pull that sensor out. This is the one I told you it was broken already, one of the clips. That's your intake air temperature sensor. Look how oily it is. This blower was congesting a lot of oil. So now I can get on that front H6 a little bit better. And like I said, I've never worked on one of these before, so I don't know, but I'm just popping them loose. I may have to take the fuel rails off to get these bolts out. I'd like to pull it all as one unit, but I may have to disassemble it. We will see. But so far, they're all breaking free. They're all tight. And you know what, guys? I think these are factory injectors. I think they're factory size injectors. I'll get the part number off of them. That would be insane to me if they ran a boosted 156 with factory, and unless they just didn't plan it like this, unless these kits were just, you know, gonna make 550 wheel maybe on no flex or anything. Then I can see running a factory injector, but that is very, very limited. I would at least ran a 630cc injector, that, you know, the high flow injectors that VRP and everybody sells. They're actually from a Porsche. It uses the same Bosch extended tip injector. I gotta find it, there we go. Behemoth of a supercharger versus what I initially thought. It's definitely big. Not as tall as the VRP one, but it's big. Runners are big, which is good. The coolant for the supercharger, the intercooler must be up top here because it comes into the back. There's a brick back here in the back. But yeah, so all these are loose. So we'll finish zipping these out and then we'll see if we can get the bolts completely out without pulling the fuel rails. So I gotta put the phone on the charge, but we will be back. Da-da-da! We'll be back. I don't know, some like commercial. Anthony, put some like commercially themed song here. Like, we'll be back with Modern Masters Auto on the next, after commercial break. Modern Masters Auto. And Georgie just thinks I'm silly, but we're gonna get it done. All right, guys, so Georgie has mostly everything disconnected. There is a big line, that line that I showed you earlier goes down, I think, under the blower. So we're gonna lift the blower up so I can see and access that. He got the injectors unplugged, but all of these injectors, you can see my fingers clean on the end there, are covered in oil. So that oil, every single injector tip, oil is wicking through the harness somewhere. That is not good. We'll have to find out what's going on with that and where this oil is coming from. It looks like the harness is really soaked right here, so I'm not sure. All right, you ready? So we're just gonna go straight up and then forward a little bit. Just. All right. Yeah, let it sit on the secondary air. God, that is covered in there. All right, guys, this thing is coming out. It is a behemoth. This is Big Bertha 2.0. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Got it. I got this one glued in. I've never had one of these fight me like this. Ow.
Thanks, dude.
Did it? Yeah. No, I pulled it, but it was so glued in the rubber gave way. We can replace that. Let me get you off the tripod. All right. So this gasket was on there, it fell through, but she was a dirty bird under here. So we gotta clean all this out. There was something living in here at some point. Got some tree material. It's so funny that even these garage kept cars, and this thing was pushing a lot of oil. A lot. And I guess they tapped it, threaded it, and put a fitting in there. It's an interesting way they ran this stuff. It works. So obviously keeping it all contained and pushing a lot of PCV system. We're just pushing a lot of oil into this. And there, one side is the boost bypass, and the other side goes through the supercharger. Super restrictive is my opinion, but we'll see. We'll get this thing on the bench, get it flipped up and torn apart. That was a job to get that off there. What was that, George?
So this morning when I went to move this car out, I started it up. It was like mosquito control in here. It just filled the whole shop full of oil smoke from the exhaust. And it took a minute or two for it to clear up. So all that oil that's in there, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally ingesting all of that. The valves are coated and covered. You can see how wet they are. And that's factory injectors. We'll get these injectors off, get the part number and just verify, but I'm pretty sure it's factory injectors. So 630cc injectors and a better tune. This thing is gonna be quite the upgrade once it's up running. So this is the Magnuson 2300. It says Magnuson on the side. I can identify already the supercharger wear. It is right there on the rotors, and it gets worse as it goes down into the supercharger. And you can hear the marbly sound in the back bearings there. Put it right here. Put your mic in there. So yeah, that'll be that. That is the inside of the Kleemann supercharger. So this is the lid, guys. This is what it looks like. So this is the intercooler brick inside of the lid. Very restrictive, not much room to go through here and then come out the top of it. But I mean, it should be plenty, but that's still really close. Not much room. Barely put my finger in each hole there. So the air comes from the supercharger, the compressed air, into the brick and then out of the brick down into the runners. The runners are massive, so hopefully that making up with the small size around the sides of this, that the runner size is really helping get that volume of air down into the engine. Extremely cool supercharger. Cleaning all this up and getting all this mint is definitely going to be the way. The silicone and the rubber molding is deteriorated, so that needed done regardless. This car should run 1,000 times better after all this is clean and put back together. But that's it. That is the supercharger. We figured out the noise is definitely coming from inside. It's getting shipped out. And Georgie's getting these valve covers off so that I can inspect the cams. So we'll inspect the cams and have a full health report on the top end of this M156, and the blower is figured out. All right, Georgie, get this off. Some of them come, some of them stay. Look at the milkiness in there. And that is from condensation. This thing has not had long starts in quite some time, and that's what will lead to that. All right, come take a ride with me here. Ooh wee, buddy. You see that lube right there? That lube is flat. That is the start of, oh yeah, you can fill it with your nail. And that is how these 507s are 90% of the time. You can see that one, same thing. Yep, feels like sandpaper. And that's how you know these need replaced. And you can really see, look at that right there. When it gets that material on the tip of the cam, if I can stop shaking, I haven't had an energy drink in 2 weeks. That right there, that's what gets the tappets. That turns into a friction material, and that's like sandpaper to the tappets. And it just starts digging and digging and digging until the tappet doesn't spin no more. When it spins, it can't get lubricated, and then it just digs into it until it eats it up. And I can already tell just by the position of this cam versus that one that this is already out of time a little bit. And those cams, when they look like that, is when they start to tear into the tappet and do this number. This is worst case, but that is what happens. It just wears and wears and wears. So that is a dead ringer for needing cams. All right, guys, that wraps up today's video, and that is how you pull off a Kleemann supercharger and how to inspect it for noise. Now, we could take the blower apart more, but that is just not my line of work because I do not replace bearings or anything inside those. So we're gonna ship that TVS blower off to Kleemann and let them take care of it for our customer. And as you've seen, the cams were worn, the tappets, as I got a little bit better view, are starting to get worn also. So we are going to be putting Black Series tappets in this car with VRP cams, new injectors, and just making this thing clean. So this will be part one of the video. Part two is when we put it all together into happy another 507 C63 done on the dyno. So I'm excited to see what kind of boost this supercharger runs when I pull the log and how the fuel pressure works with the stock fuel pump and stock injectors. I'm going to suggest he runs 630 cc's, it's just a better injector, but we'll see what he opts to do. So if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe, and make sure you guys hit that notification button because you'll want to be notified when this part two comes out. That is going to be the real exciting video. So take care, guys, and happy St. Patrick's Day for all you Irishmen like my good friend Anthony. So take care. Testing, testing, testing. George is gay, testing. And my mic is all the way over here on this, so hopefully Anthony heard that well, but we'll see what he opts to do. So without further ado, it's the end of the video. Has some aftermarket air filters in there. You gotta take these ramps out of the way before I trip and die. What holiday's coming up? St. Patrick's Day? In like a couple weeks. Testing, testing. Should be good. Well, I've said that before. Good job, Georgie. Good job.
You know I'm Irish too, partner.
Yeah, but he's like trying to say he's not Irish, so it's funny to bring it up to him. He says he's not Irish. He's a freaking redhead. Look at that. That thing is toast. But yeah, cool. All right, see you later. Thanks, Anthony, for all the editing. And by the time you guys, this video comes out, we'll probably have the ML63 done. She's looking awesome with her new subframe and new motor going in.